Hello there, good morning. It's the Weekend Sports Breakfast here on talkSPORT. It's Shebahn Aherne and former Chelsea striker Tony Cascarino. It's going to be a hot yin today.
Yes, that's why I've got my shorts and t-shirt on.
Oh, see the. Thank God you put your shorts on today. Sitting in your pants yesterday was too far. Yes, It's going to be a toasty one. Some of the headlines you're waking up to this morning: Bernardo Silva said he was thrilled to make his Real Madrid debut last night after their 2-1 friendly win over Hungarian side Ferencváros. Aston Villa director of football Damien Vidignani has confirmed Aston Villa are in talks over a deal for Bayern Munich's João Palhinha, and former England midfielder Dele has reportedly been training with West Ham United. Dele Alli's been without a club since leaving Serie A side Como in September 2025. Former Salford manager Carl Robinson talks talkSPORT Breakfast. He's back in the midfielder to make a return to football.
You heard all the podcasts that we listen to, and an awful lot of people who's talking an awful lot of things about how bad this person is or how difficult it is. We don't speak about the talent and how much we want to support these people. Now, he's had multiple chances to get himself back playing. So you can't blame everybody else. You've got to look at yourself first and foremost. And at the end of the day, if he is given this opportunity, it is true, and he goes into West Ham and he hits the ground running. They know they're going to have such a talented footballer. But that's down to him. Yeah. It's not down to anybody else now. I think it's about him just putting his boots back on and just doing something that he loves. Yeah. I said, I think, in talkSPORT about 4 or 5 years ago, it was a game of football just outside the studio on a little five-a-side. He'd be the first one in there playing.
Carl Robinson speaking to talkSPORT Breakfast the other day about Dele.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Well, he needs to be excited. He needs something to give him the lift of, reigniting his career, because it's very hard for him to go to a club that's not going to have, a huge fan base who can, lift him. He needs that, because I just don't see a small club option for Dele Alli. I think if he can get excited by something, he can go, do you know what? I'm going to give my heart and soul, and I'm going to kick football back in the teeth here and prove to people how good I am. That could be the sort of signing that West Ham could make, only he's got to do a lot of proving. Yeah,
I mean, he's been through it, hasn't he? He's been through a hard time, and football being his first love, he would hope.
But imagine getting that gift of a big opportunity. I say that because that happened to me. I was given the gift of Marseille when I was out of contract, and that was the biggest lift I ever had in my career.
Yeah.
And for Dele Alli, it could be the West Ham link and go, do you know what? He's going to give it his absolute all.
More on the website on Dele, talksport.com. We did the top 5 managerial personalities.
Oh, we're getting out.
It's really hard to please everyone.
No, I know.
Suggestions. To be fair, Ian Holloway.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But Premier League, he was in the Premier League, wasn't he?
Ian Holloway getting a lot of mentions here on the text. How the hell can he not be in there? Big Ange, good personality.
Yeah.
Terrible tactician. That's from a Spurs fan, Darren. What about Cloughie? A number of mentions on Brian.
Well, he wasn't in the Premier League, was he? Was he in the first year of the Premier League? Was it 92, 93?
Yeah,
first year. Okay. Oh, well, yeah.
The best personality by far. That's from Andy the Brummie. Yeah. Kevin Keegan, obviously, we put him in there as well.
Well, he could be you, Big Sam,
Warnock's
Sean Dyche, Neil Warnock.
Oh, Dyche will be hurt. He won't be happy with us.
No. But look.
Yeah.
It's just an opinion. And I, like I said, really, apart from number one, because I thought Jose was the standout.
And the thing is, that's the thing about personality. Not everyone's going to like it.
No. So, well, Fergie had a big personality. We've not mentioned him.
But he was almost like frightening as well at the same time.
Yeah.
I suppose all of them are. If they go off, I suppose it would be scary.
But there are some managers, that have got these huge personalities that are just fantastic to listen to.
Yeah. Speaking of big personalities, Steve Clarke is expected to be replaced soon. Well, the new manager is expected to be announced in Scotland. The search for the national team manager rumbles on. There was a post that came out yesterday saying that the FA are closing in an appointment in Scotland. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Steven Naismith, who was Steve Clarke's assistant, odds-on favourite to become the new Scotland manager. Does that surprise you?
What, Steve Naismith?
Steven Naismith's the
I don't know. He's. I mean, obviously, I knew he was assistant to Steve Clarke. But look, the Scottish FA, if they see they want to make too much change in the system and the stability of the coaching with Scotland, they might well go, well, let Steven Naismith take over.
Well, let's get their thoughts now with Scottish football reporter Paul Mitchell to give us more on this. Good morning to you, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Hi,
Good morning.
Paul. Good to see you, Paul. I mean, let's start there, shall we, with this the new Scotland boss coming in. Do you think it's going to be Steven Naismith, and what's your thoughts on it?
It's likely going to be Steven Naismith, and Steven's been around the setup for a little while. He's got some experience, obviously, playing internationally. He was Hearts manager, and that didn't quite work out for him. Some might argue it's an unambitious appointment, just to appoint the guy who's next in line. But you've got to look around and see who potentially would it be. I mean, if this had been a couple of years down the line, Derek McInnes's name would have come in. David Moyes' name always comes up, but, you know, it's the start of the season and he's at Everton. So Steven Naismith looks like the logical choice. He's been involved with the group. The group's going to have to turn over. You know, Scotland are going to have to change the squad slightly. And he's probably in the best place of anybody to do that at the moment.
Look, it's a big change in many ways, but if you're keeping with the stability of the Scotland coaching staff, that you just go, yeah. And look, Craig Bellamy walked into Wales. You know, you've had others. Coleman did it with Wales as well. You saw it with England as well. So it's happened at many other national teams.
Yeah, I mean, Steven's got a good pedigree. He's played international football. He knows all about it. He's got a very nice, easygoing manner, but he's also got that steel that's required, you know, to be in a big job like this. So I think it's interesting, because I think this is going to be an interesting point for Scottish football. But Scottish football have also talked about, there's a big summit coming up that the SFA have called to talk about grassroots football and why there's so few young Scottish players getting a chance at the big clubs. Now, you could have done that 10 years ago. You could have done that 20 years ago. You could have done it 25 years ago. Nothing new under the sun. So either Scotland are going to embrace big change, or this is just going to be another meeting of folk getting together and nobody will bother in the end.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the Scotland job as well, I mean, I'm glad this summit's happening. Say it's been going on and on and on. Where is the young talent coming through in Scotland? But with regards to the new Scotland manager, how important will it be for Steven Naismith, if it is him, to be on side with the media and make that part of the role as well? And a big part of the role, because I think it's a big part of it.
Yeah, it's just modern day football, isn't it? You've got to be on side with the media. You understand what they're there for. You understand why they're there. So you've got to, you know, give them the stories, give them the information, be approachable, be affable. Now, that might not be easy, but that's part of being a manager nowadays. You've got to understand that, you know, you're under scrutiny 24/7. I think what you've got to do is ignore the noise that perhaps comes on social media. I mean, if you ever go into social media to look for praise, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to embrace the media. Stephen's savvy enough. He's worked on radio, he's worked on television, so he understands that side of the game. And I don't think that would be a problem for him. I think what would be a problem for him is the lack of Scottish talent coming through and getting the chance to play at the top level. You know, Finlay Curtis is a great example. You know, he came and played brilliantly at Kilmarnock at the end of the season after Danny Rowell had popped him out on loan. He played pretty well. How much is Derek McInnes going to use him? Finlay Curtis is now a Scottish internationalist, but Derek McInnes is under pressure to win now. So that's why, you know, we keep reading about Rangers wanting to sign a winger. They're prepared to spend money because, you know, being at Rangers might not be ideal for Finlay Curtis.
Yeah, I mean, just on the subject then of Steven Naismith, before we focus on today, he did do a number of the press conferences when we were at the World Cup, because Steve Clarke doesn't do press unless it's on match day -1. And he was always actually a treat, very warm with the media, lots of given answers, chatty, and obviously very well equipped. And yeah, I think he's on that kind of level with the players as well. You know, maybe that little bit younger, but a hell of a lot of experience as well. So we'll see how this one works out. Let's focus on the games today. Going to 4 o'clock, you mentioned Rangers. They take on Hibs. Huge game and a bit of pressure on Derek McInnes already.
It's incredible, isn't it? You know, game 3 for Rangers, Derek McInnes is already under pressure. What Derek can do is try and assemble a squad. He's doing what all the managers that have come in, from Russell Martin to Danny Rowell to himself, he's having to change a squad into the players that he wants, and that's not going to be easy. And to judge him after a couple of games is pretty harsh. And when you look back at how they played in Poland, I mean, individual errors, absolutely done for Rangers. Now, the manager can't really do much about that. You know, you pick the team, you organise them, and then they don't play. I mean, if you were being fair, Derek McInnes needs 6 months to a year. He's at Ibrox. He might not get 6 months to a year if it doesn't work, as Russell Martin found out.
Yeah. Also, Kilmarnock take on Celtic at home.
This is fascinating. Celtic haven't always done down too well at Rugby Park. However, it is a new grass pitch that's been installed down there. The old carpet's been ripped up. And I think that's going to help everybody that goes down to Rugby Park. I think it'll also help Kilmarnock as well. Nobody wants to play on the artificial surfaces. So it'd be interesting to see. Kilmarnock were wide open against St Johnstone last week. They lost by 4-3. It was quite a crazy game, one of those games that can happen at the start of the season. It'd be interesting to see how Neil McCann goes, whether he sets out to try and frustrate Celtic, who are easily frustratable at the moment, or whether Celtic will just have too much. Celtic have spent a lot of money up front. Celtic fans are expecting goals.
What's the picture then with Martin O'Neill? Because obviously he had his operation, whatever happened there, his procedure, we believe. But it is going to be Sean Maloney today.
Yeah, Sean Maloney. I mean, Sean's got plenty of experience. He's been, manager at Hibs. He's been assistant manager for Belgium. He knows a match day. I mean, Celtic fans should have no fear. And Sean Maloney will be, deep in conversation with Martin O'Neill. They'll know exactly how they want to play. So if I was a Celtic fan, I wouldn't be worried about this. And 1 or 2 games of Sean Maloney going in. I think it might be slightly more concerning for Celtic if they don't get him back for the European matches.
Yeah, this is true. Paul, thank you for your time. Enjoy the day, okay?
Cheers, Paul.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.
Lovely stuff. Kilmarnock Celtic is at 1:30. Hearts Dundee United at 3, as is Motherwell against Falkirk, and then Rangers take on Hibs. At 4 o'clock, we'll have all the updates for you here on talkSPORT. You're listening to the Weekend Sports Breakfast. Coming up, we'll ask whether Arsenal signing Bruno Guimaraes has guaranteed them the title. That's pricked your ears up already, Gooners. Good morning.